What are the critical elements of dynamic teaching? The first we will explore is bridging. Bridging simply means making connections between the lives of students as they exist outside of our classrooms and the reality of our curriculum and our topics and experiences in the classrooms. One of the best ways to begin bridging is a review of learning from the previous class's work. Another is consciously creating and sustaining healthy relationships amongst the students. Another is providing and communicating to the students a good, clear roadmap or overview of the topics and subjects that they're about to experience in your class. Let's go and have a look at a few of our colleagues' examples.
So I just went up on Friday and spent 3 minutes in the library and came up with a number of books that all have different points of view on the same topic, the topic that we're going to be looking at today, which is an ad. I always have in mind the key points that I want students to take away from the material. And I actually don't think the specifics of all the information is as important as students learning to recognize answers or discover answers for themselves. I think that's all I want to say about the process.
I really was not looking forward to coming into English, but it's not the same. You can just tell that she loves what she's doing because as soon as she walks in the door, she's smiling and she's happy and she just has so much energy. It's like you feed off that. It's 8:30 in the morning and I can still wake up and come and I'm not falling asleep.
I'm very impressed with her style of teaching. She makes you feel comfortable. She's open. She's willing to listen. She doesn't put you down at all. You know, somebody in my position, if I'll say, I don't quite understand that, she goes over it again. She's very good teacher. Because if you're sitting in a class and the professor's up there lecturing and feels cold and you don't feel like you're able to turn around to the person behind you or to ask her a question, it's a comfort level. You're in that classroom feeling, okay, I can do this. You're not intimidated. You're not overwhelmed.
The things that work well are building on where the students are coming from, I think, and it's considering how they might be feeling and establishing how to work with groups immediately with a classroom. What I'd like you to do is form your groups of 3 or 4. So
working in a group where there's 4 people, you have your own personal opinion that could be totally different from other people. But talking with other people in the class, doing the group assignments, you see other people's point of view. So it's made me learn not to be so biased. So
it's fun. Students are eager because I introduce and explain why I use group work, and that makes it go quickly. They're actually quite eager to form a group on that first day. The challenge that I set up is to identify one thing the group has in common with each other, and one thing they each have that's unique to them within that group.
She gives a situation or something to analyze together in a group, and when you get a group of people, we all have different points of view. So you're learning from each other as well as learning what you're studying right now. You're going over, whether you're today, in the past we were learning about metaphors or how you're analyzing this and how you're going to write with this. She's excellent about that. You're learning more than you realize you're learning. You're learning all the time.
There's a lot of laughter. There's a lot of getting to know each other. They develop a level of comfort. And I talk at the end of that session about working together. That's exactly what we'll be doing for the rest of the semester. And so that just sets it up. So I've already established critical thinking without even having to introduce the concept. This text gives you a really good clue who's advertising, right? It's not Bacardi well. I realize that students are, in our culture, highly visual, and so I tend to like to work with visuals. That only works if you explain to them why we're doing something, not just let's do it and have some fun, but explain why and develop the problem. So sometimes you have to tell them what you expect. You expect them to be having fun, or you expect things to be moving along quickly, and they buy into that.
Yes.
Find a third party in this activity level. Examine their diet as it is now. Choose healthy alternatives to some of the most negative points in your diet. Someone's not gonna change everything all at once.
I like that. I think the most important thing for me, or the thing that gets me revved up, is making connections with people and the relationships. And you know, sometimes they don't elevate to the place you want them, but other times you can really see the students awaken and get energized and enthusiastic, and they're coming up and talking to you after. And again, relationships with all the students. I mean, whether or not they get inspired by the course content. I like to get to know them.
Instructors generally will always ask, does anybody have questions? But Guy has a way of making you feel okay about asking a question. I think he's so comfortable that you don't feel silly asking a question that you're afraid might be stupid.
Even ask a question over and over again until we get it.
Yeah.
And there's an understanding there.
Yeah.
I've talked about removing this power structure. You know, sure, I've earned my doctorate, but I'm guided the students, and I'm okay with that. I think that's important to build relationships. How can there be an equal relationship for learning when I'm the doctor and you're just Neil?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Call me Doctor Neil.
Yeah.
You know.
Put down what you know about effective science teaching with all the connections. This is a crucial time that we've done lots. Now's the time to bring that stuff together through a synthesis. Because doing more isn't better. It's to put together what you know, and we'll move forward from there. So
I like a lot of the review things that he does, but when we don't like what we did today, where we actually write things down and create our own models and our own understanding of what he's taught us. So that we're doing review, but not just talking about it. We actually do it.
And before that, on the previous day, we did the classification of dweebs. And those are different types of process skills.
He does like to review the class before, so you still remember it, because we only have it once a week. And he always gives us our overview of what we're doing for the day.
In terms of looking at today, overview of teaching strategies will be part of what we look at. We'll look at science ed strategies specifically, and then we'll do a strategy analysis. Over the years, I've found out that students like structure and organization, and they like to know where they're headed and what the outcomes are. And I found over the years that I think I need structure as well.
Another thing I really like about Bernie's teaching style is that he uses a lot of anticipation. Kind of gets us curious and intrigued about what we're about to do. And he always follows through with that too, so he doesn't give false promises.
How do you tap into prior learning?
I do some sharing activities where I ask them to tell me what they know, their strengths, their weaknesses, their hopes, their fears. That's part of the way I introduce the course and the class.
The first day we entered this classroom on the first lesson, he stood and greeted us, shook our hand, got to know us, what our names were, a real intimate sort of connection, like he really wants to know his students. We definitely weren't just numbers.
I work hard on relationships within those structures, and those relationships, I think, contribute to a safe learning environment.
Yes.
If I don't have student